A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams. Okay, quiet. Hey, quiet. Stood out towards me. Oh! No, not an owl. A real scream of pain.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Speakers, screamers. we're back. We're back, screamers. We've got my dulcet tones back in your ear holes for another another driving while screaming. It's like driving while remote screaming kind of a thing.
Right. We've done this in the past where Brock and I didn't drive together, and so we're double up driving while screaming. I don't know what the word for that would be actually, but there's a bunch of people getting into like cars that are being like people are don't drive themselves to this thing. People are I don't know what's going on. I'm driving. I'm getting out of the parking lot, so.
Oh wow, there are like a lot of people getting picked up.
Yeah.
Fancy folks who can afford
that kind of like someone
that
driving
kind of
you
lifestyle.
Around.
Yeah.
So day
So it's day
3.
3.
I think actually, and I want to apologize to the streamers. God damn it, man! The screamers from last night because I think I said the Asian American Film Festival. That was dumb of me. It was just the Asian Film Festival.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the first night you called it the Asian American, and I was like, no, that's the other one.
That's the other. Those are the guys we don't know, and we probably don't like. Anyway, I didn't mean to fuck it up. It's just you get tired in these things. Shit happens. It's just you. And so my apologies. This is the Asian Film Festival of Dallas, AFFD, day 3. Another 5 movies for me in the books. This is like I was like thinking about this like when we were watching. I was like, when you're that old ad, that kind of like trope about where if your dad catches you smoking, he makes you smoke the whole pack. I feel like that's what I'm doing to myself at this point. It's just like, oh, you like movies, do you? Well, here, watch 17 movies in 4 days, you jackass.
Try this, buddy. Yeah, and I'm sorry you have to do it by yourself largely. But some things can't be helped.
That's how I've been doing things most of my life, Brock. I mean, like
most of your life. Yeah, by yourself on your own to your detriment.
So how do we want to do it? Do you want me to jump in with the first 3?
Yeah. Talk to us about the first 3. And I'll ask questions if I have questions.
Yeah. So the first film that I watched, which is another film in the kind of the Two Strangers, Two Seasons vein, was called Frosted Windows. It was a kind of a triptych of stories of these just basically little vignettes of people existing. The first 2 are kind of romance stories in a sense. Not, I mean, obviously, like there were elements of love involved. The first story was about this kind of artist who would use his standing in the community to flirt and to pick up young women.
As one does. I mean,
he fancied himself as I don't know, as kind of a
Lothario.
Yeah, so Lothario, and like one who kind of like deserved to be this like that people should look on him with some sort of like high praise. The second one was a story about a couple in a bar and this guy trying to pick up this girl, and she's teaching him about drinking whiskey and bourbon, and he's actually got a girlfriend, but he's digging this other girl, and he's like trying to tell her that his girlfriend is Him being with his current girlfriend's a mistake, but the girl in the bar actually likes the bartender. And then the third film is um, really kind of a meta. It's very much like Two Strangers, Two Seasons, where it has this meta portion of it where it's about this actress who's kind of sad and lonely in this, and she's gone through stuff, and she meets this old director of hers, and the director is telling her about this story that she's making called Frosted Window, and it's about this slice of life things. It felt very Hal Hartley esque, that last segment. But man, it
Right,
was
yeah, it does sound Al Hartley.
it was so good. It was so fucking good. Like, it was very Linkletter Before Sunrise. That's how Paul introduced Paul, the lead programmer of the Asian Film Festival of Dallas. A buddy of ours who's come out and sat on panels with us. And it did have that kind of feel. And I was telling Paul, it was like, it's not like, it wasn't overly sexual, but like the sexual tension between the three people in the second segment, I was like, that's way too hot to be showing at 12 o'clock on a Saturday. Like, you need to call me. That needs to be in a late night entry. Also, they've done this really good job of like programming these kind of like slow, quiet films at the beginning of the day that I'm just like, I need a little bit of jolt. I need a Drunken Blade to play in the beginning of the day to kind of get me into the like power me awake. Not that I'm, it's just they're very like contemplative.
It kind of like
These
lulls
films.
you to sleep a little bit. It's just like nice and comfortable. And
Yeah, and they were really good. So highly recommend checking out Frosted Window. It may be hard to find, but I think we're going to keep on top of it
we're
and
gonna try to find it because I
shout it
wouldn't
from the
sleep.
rooftops. And then the second one I watched was called En Route 2, and it's about this young woman who's I can't figure out like Korean school systems. This was a thing in the Gorals as well. Like, I don't know like when all of this happens for Korean schoolgirls. Like, because this feels like a high school film, and guessing that it is, but they're like in a dormitory. They're kind of away from their parents, and we have two main characters. One is a girl who's like, she is selling like vapes, like like bootleg vapes to her friends who can't buy them in town. So it's like, and then there's another girl who's the outcast, and come to find out that she has been impregnated by her teacher who has committed suicide. And it's this story about her trying to figure out whether she wants an abortion, trying to get an abortion. Her friend who's selling the vapes, she actually steals money from her friend who's selling the vapes, and that they actually become like a pair together. And then it's this school teacher's wife that is coming back into the picture and trying to figure out, because they don't know the husband actually killed himself. He had disappeared, and they thought that he had gone hiking and lost his footing. So there was all this so the teacher was being hyped up as being this kind of noble guy who, was it was just this tragedy that he was beloved by his students, et cetera, et cetera. And it's his wife kind of coming to grips with like whether she ignores the fact that he has been cheating on her, and like the way that the school system works is that the husband, with the student, with a minor, right? And so it's like this harrowing. Like, I was thinking about this on the way up because Evan Gordon, Evan had reached out to us from Due West, and was emailed us and was telling us about Due West and where it was, and I was like, man, this would be another great film for Evan to watch. And I'm like, I'm also like, Evan doesn't exist in this like abortion sphere, like films. Like, it's like,
right. It's like an extended abortion universe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's the EAU that Evan's like created for himself. And I don't want to be the guy who's like, "Hey, have you seen this abortion film? Like, this is another
What
thing you
about
should be."
this abortion film?
Um,
We're just going to
but
program a weekend of abortion films.
yes, only all yeah, all abortion all the time. And it's really it's this really like funny, but not, it's like endearing and touching, and like there's moments of real gravitas, there's moments of real humor. The female leads, and that's the same thing with the girls. The female leads are really really good in this. It's it's never played like too sanctimonious on any given side. Like I mean, and so it's a really really solid like film. Um, it can be melodramatic, but because of like how it all, because how the situation unfolds. But like, I think that's easily forgiven because you're in this moment with these young girls. Um, and yeah, I really dug it. I didn't like it as much as Frosted Window, of course, and it doesn't. I mean, but I highly recommend that one as well. And then this third film that I saw before Brock got into town was called Year of the Cat. It was a documentary. It was about this
And it wasn't about
Vietnamese.
cats.
It was not about cats. It was about a Vietnamese American uh, who was looking for his father. He had never known who his father was. His mom came over unknowingly pregnant after the fall of Saigon to America. She'd been really reluctant to talk about her time, and who his father might be. And so it's this movie that, it's this guy's journey to try to find his parents, and like going through DNA testing and trying to utilize that to figure out where his relatives might be. Yeah, it is that whole thing, because of course, he finds out who his father is at the end. Spoiler alert! But like, and so it's a very crowd pleasing documentary. But my thoughts about documentaries. My problem with them, and I can
Yeah.
never like separate myself from them. But I'm like, so the thing opens up with him like standing in a street, like looking around, like, and I'm like, all this is just, it's also staged. And so I mean, I know that it has to
Right.
be. I get that. I understand that there's going to be narrative pieces to it, but I can't pull myself out from those moments of like, oh, there's these sequences where he's looking out the window pensively. And I know that they shot that 5 different fucking times. That's not like a real
Yeah.
reaction to the moment. As it dissolves to him
Well, and
standing up and looking to something else.
that's where documentaries, like, we want that. We're told that it's true, right? We're told that it's nonfiction, but it also feels stagey and artificial a lot of times, when what we want, right, is to really kind of have those things like land in a way that feels genuinely authentic, and it's just hard to do.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, like, and I know that even like the documentaries that, that, and I also feel like I'm going down. I'm going down. This is an actual train of thought. But I kind of feel betrayed by documentaries a lot of times, because more often than not, the ones that gain popularity, you find out that the narrative is so manipulated that it
Right.
doesn't. So like things like Capturing the Freedmans, or like
Yeah.
what was the West Memphis Three? Like, they're just,
Yeah.
I mean, like, you find out like they're so engaging, but then you find out later that, well, it was not that way. There was something different. It was not like it was presented in this manner. And like, I'm just like, you know, I don't know what you can trust in a story that's being put together. And the filmmaker was there. He had, I mean, and like, so this the journey for him to find his dad is, I mean, that felt genuine and real. There were some diversions from that main story, because I don't think he knew if he was going to be able to find his dad, if he was really truly going to be able to find his
Uh,
dad. And so like there's diversions of like also other Vietnamese Americans finding out their parents were, and they had siblings in the United States. So it kind of weaves. He did say that like the version that we saw was the long version. Like there was a lot of stuff with like that he, given putting it on Hulu or putting it on, the theatrical release, a true theatrical release, it would probably get cut down quite a bit.
right.
But I mean, all in all, I mean, it was, if you dig documentaries, It was definitely a crowd pleaser. Um, it had a lot of pathos, and you felt a lot of empathy for this guy. He did a really good job of putting himself on camera and like evoking all of those emotions, and like also making himself vulnerable in a sense. So I mean, yeah, all in all, I mean, a decent documentary. I just again, they're just not my thing, and it wasn't just going like through the motions.
Let
I
me
might have bowed out of it.
can I
So
ask you a question?
yes, absolutely.
So, like, what would this film have looked like as a narrative film? I mean, like, like a non-doc film. Because I mean, I think part of the question that comes up as you're talking about this stuff is like, why not just make a narrative feature?
I don't know if you'd buy the twists and turns, and that's another thing. I don't necessarily know if I buy the twists and turns as it exists now. But like at some point, he
Yeah.
goes through and like he does find a first. Like it feels like an advertisement for like 23andMe and Ancestry.com because he does like kind of name drop those. And that may be a little unfair on my
Gotcha.
part, but like they're definitely displayed a lot, and like I have feelings about those companies, so like I was already kind of like my
Right.
hackles are raised a bit. But there's this moment where he finds a first cousin, and and like the first cousin doesn't want to be on camera, or like and like they live in Europe, so he's using a voice modulator for her, and then it's at a certain point that thread drops because she's like, my family doesn't want to be involved in this. You're coming on too strong. Please don't contact me again.
Right.
I mean, I think this could have been told as a fiction, as a based on a true story type thing, and been shorn up a bit. You clearly don't get like his cousin finding a sister, like she finds it like in the movie as well, and they film a lot of that, and like I think I don't know though, I feel like a lot of times what this ends up being is something like Miss Juneteenth, where I don't
Yeah.
believe any of it. It just seems very stereotypical. Like you can't get out of the tropes and all of the trappings of like what it's like to be a Vietnamese American rather than what it's like to actually try to find your dad, and like um so I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
like it feels like it might have been. It feels like it might go a little amateurish and like and weaken the story. But I feel that same way about every story that's based on a true story, right? I mean, like
Yeah. Right. Right.
you look at something like Remember the Titans, or like they're and it's all horseshit, right? It's all like
Yeah.
it's all amalgams of
Right.
characters, and the motivations are changed, and Rudy becomes this lead figure that he's inspiring rather than just a huge pain in the ass in real
Like
life. I
each
mean,
piece
like
of shit. Yeah.
right. So yeah, I mean, like I don't think this gets made if it's not an 8-year struggle to
Gotcha.
find his
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
Um, and it does feel like I don't know. That's another thing I have a problem with these documentaries too. It's just like, all right, you're using this as fodder to like further your career, and I guess we all do that to a certain extent. But like,
Right.
it also cheapens it a little bit, right? I mean, like it feels like if it's all it's just like that Andre's an idiot documentary. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yes. So
like
that's the one I was thinking about. Yeah.
it's just like it's all performative at a certain point, and I feel like that that performative nature manipulates the story in and of itself, right? You have this narrative and you have this thread, and you have to keep this thread. It's not just about finding your dad, it's also about making it interesting, and that's the other part that's really hard to do. Like, and so
Yeah.
as Andre's an idiot, as he's dying, he's still got to be this fucking crazy ass guy who never took care of himself, and like, but is still like enduring, and like you spend your last days doing this fucking thing, and it's just I don't know. They're not for me. Everyone else in that theater, fucking, I'm sure they loved it. I would imagine it's going to do really well at the audience awards, because people are going to be too fucking afraid to not vote it as a 5. But yeah, I mean, like whatever. I saw it. I wouldn't have seen it if the documentary filmmaker wasn't in the theater. Like I probably would have just like I don't think I would have like gone to the screen, but since they were there, he was like, yeah, I'll go see. Yeah, I'll go see it, and I did.
You were like,
And
tell me about documentaries. Changed my mind.
right. You're just stupid, dumb. Why'd you do it? And
Changed my mind. Yeah.
as the white guy sitting dead center, like, hey, why is your film
And
such a
saying things
bullshit
like
film?
stupid dum-dum.
All right, so let's talk about Never After Dark.
Yeah. Let's talk about a haunted house ghost story.
So yeah, Never After Dark is about this medium who's been called to this area, this hotel, by its new owners to kind of expel a entity that is haunting the new owners. It's basically haunting the female, the patriarch, the matriarch of the new location. And the medium has a dead sister that she can see in mirrors, and she can break the veil between the living world and the dead world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought this film was a fucking banger, man. I dug the shit out of this
Yeah.
the
No,
entire
this
time.
was good. This was good. And so because you brought up the sister, the dead sister, I love how they reveal stuff like early on. Right? I mean, we don't go through this whole thing about like, oh, we can, they don't sixth sense us, right?
Right? Yeah,
They
this is not an
don't
I see dead people kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't try to trick us. They don't try to like we understand immediately that she sees that this girl she's seeing is dead. And so that I think grounds us in a way, right? Where we're not going to be sort of like hoodwinked, which I just really appreciate.
Right. And yeah, I mean, like the motivations of the bad guy are put into place pretty early on. Like I mean, like I guess you could argue, like when the ghost says I'm not dead, that they they don't toy with you much. They don't like it's never they
Oh,
don't have it never Agatha Christie's you where it tries to make you feel
right,
stupid for not like realizing all of this at the end. Um,
right,
yeah, it plays it really straight. It plays it really scary. I mean, like it doesn't. I mean, like there's a few jump scares and a few sound jump scares, but not a lot, not overly so. It's just genuinely creepy. I never really knew where it was going. It
right,
kept me on my toes
right.
the entire time. Like when the guy shows up at the end, I'm like, hey, is that the guy that has the thing?
Yeah,
And he's like, oh, it is the guy that has a thing.
yep.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautifully shot.
It really
Like
is. It's fucking gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
I bought in whole cloth to everything, man. Like the whole like
Yep.
there's a mechanism that she uses to take herself through the veil. And it's like I don't give it. Yeah, this okay. That makes total fucking sense. Let's do
Okay.
that
Yeah.
then.
Right. Right.
Like I'm
Right.
in. Oh, blowing out the candle pulls you back. Okay, got it. I'm in.
Yeah.
Like
Cool. Yeah.
I
Well,
never
I
for
mean, like the
once.
rules are established, right? I mean, the rules are
Yeah,
clearly established in how this stuff works. In the world of the film.
yeah. It's. I mean, it's. Yeah. It was so good. It was so creepy and just well done. And like you don't. I know we've had a slew of good horror as of late, but man, I think this like if this doesn't get a U.S. release, like if this is not like a
It does.
legit.
No, it got picked up by Magnolia.
Oh, okay, great, that's awesome because I think this really will like this could be another thing. Like I mean, like for a
Oh yeah,
filmmaker like who's doing I forget the guy's name who's doing Hokum and
Gabe
Oddity.
Boy. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, no, thank you. That I think this is right in that vein, and it's probably better than both of those films. I think this is, but in that same kind of sense, and I think this is really good. I really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, you never know with horror, right? But I mean, like this was just, yeah, it was great, and I loved the interaction between the two sisters. I love both of those actresses.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like they never worried about bringing you into like a backstory at all. There was never like it just evolved over time, and like we never really like, and you don't need it. Get an understand, an understanding. Like a lesser film would show you what happened to the little, to the older sister at the time, and her running,
Yeah.
and then the sister running away. Like it would take time and take away from the film to explain character motivations that you don't need in this. This is a haunted house movie. It is a
Yeah.
serial killer movie. They explain it as like, why does he want the teeth? Well, he wants the teeth because he thinks the souls are in the teeth, and he's really kind of just happenstance about that. It could be, it might be Egyptians that thought about that. It could be,
I love
other, I
that.
forget
That
what
was
other.
Assyrians. He's like, the Assyrians
Yes.
believed that souls were in the teeth, and he's like, maybe it was the Egyptians. I love it. Like, it doesn't fucking matter to this guy. It's just like, somebody thinks that the souls are in the teeth, and so I need the teeth. and you were,
go ahead.
I just want to say, like, you were talking about how we find out about the other sister's death, and I thought that was so well done too, right? Where again, like, she's having this kind of weird like way of flashback as a ghost, right?
Right.
She's having like
Yes.
a ghost, and she's like, our food is poisoned. They think we're witches, and I'm like, that's all you need. And I
Right.
feel like yeah, I mean, to take us out and to like show us that, or like, have a replay or a flashback of that would do more harm, and again, take us out of that moment where we get this really kind of harrowing, visceral kind of reaction from the young actress, and the movie is better for it.
Yeah. It's weird that it's the second ghost story movie of this festival that talks about ghosts as like entities that don't exist in time,
Yeah.
that bounce around, that these entities, that these ghosts that they're different versions of us that are haunting us, that are trying to warn us of things, that are trying to and I think I find, like I was saying last night on the driving with screen, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that, and then the next fucking day it comes up again. So maybe I'm just not watching enough Japanese horror, but like I find that concept wildly interesting, and I think in this case, it really, having. I don't want to give too much away, because I guess that this one, I do want people to like really, really dig into and kind of go in blind, because I think it's only fair for that, and obviously it hasn't been released, and I know we never do that, but having those two entities fight one another, be juxtaposed, and being like, I think that was just really, really. Sorry
What
about
happened?
that.
Oh, that's okay.
No, my phone was charging, and on whatever reason, like it overheats. It overheats in this charging pad. So like, I think it just like was like, hey, you can't use your phone anymore because it's gotten too hot. My takes were so hot that it was like, holy shit, we got to shut this down because people aren't going to be able to handle his hot takes on movies.
Well, if nothing else, we do have takes.
Yes, I have.
Always good.
All right, so I don't know. Were you talking about Mackay while I was gone there for a minute?
No, I was trying to figure out what was happening.
No.
I wanted to say something. One last thing about Never After Dark is that it should have an October release date in the U.S.
Oh, cool.
So, I just wanted to make sure we got that out there.
We'll keep an eye out for that. Maybe we can watch it again in the theaters and then talk about it in more in depth. But I do think it. I mean, obviously, and for screamers who are listening, normally Brock and I probably watch stuff multiple times as we get to kind of that point, before we talk about it on the podcast. And so, I'd like to dig into this one again. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, this would be a great one to like program, because again, I don't think people are gonna. I hope people do, but I worry that it may not get seen as much as I hope that it does.
not as much as it deserves.
But man, yeah, it was good. It was good. All right, so let's talk about the film that we programmed tonight, and I'll let you do the honors. And
Oh, okay. So yeah, we have been lucky enough to guest program a couple films for this Film Festival Dallas. And the first one was tonight, and it's called Makai. It's a Malaysian film from the director Sanjay Perumal, and if I'm mispronouncing his name, I apologize. And I mean, it really is. It's a film that plays a lot, I think, with these kind of genre conventions, different tropes, but it's about a small time drug pusher who gets ripped off and then has to, like I said in the intro, has to make his boss whole. And so he recruits his best friend Ethan and a kind of not stranger, but someone that kind of from their past named Jack, and they go off on a heist to get this guy's money, and then all kind of nonsense and bad luck starts to happen. And the ending sort of turns into something completely different, a kind of spiritual trip and a real departure. I think it's a visually striking film. I think that it's really funny in parts. I think that there are some. I mean, of course, some missteps. I think it falls into some. I think traps and pitfalls that a lot of movies like this will. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed it, and I think we had a good reaction from the crowd as well.
yeah, it's always tricky programming anything, especially when you're playing in someone else's sandbox, and it was especially harrowing.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
happy with our picks. What were you saying? I'm sorry. Oh, are you just agreeing with me? Are you there?
I couldn't hear you. You broke up. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm here.
I'm sorry.
You were all
I was just saying. I was just saying it's especially harrowing doing programming in someone else's sandbox, and wanting to do a good job. So, and I'm happy with the picks. Like we had, I think we had. I mean, I think our picks are solid. But also we also know what we program in general is not for everybody either. So there's that aspect to it as well. But no, I mean
and I think we
this.
were trying to kind of find films that would kind of. I don't think we wanted to play it safe by any means, and so taking a swing on a film like this that is in itself sort of taking a swing at different things, I think is really good for a festival like this. I don't know, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I think getting a different area. I mean, there have been other films, Thai and Malaysian and Singaporean films in this festival, but I feel like this one feels different in a sense. It's playing with different nationalities in these areas. I think there's a lot of stuff going on that I think it's interesting for an American audience to understand in regards to other countries and how they handled their minority populations, and even within as an American where we would notice the differences but wouldn't be able to discern what they were per se, and how the interplay is. I think there's a lot of kind of subtlety there in this film. But I think at its heart, it's just a really funny road comedy. A road comedy of errors, with a bunch of bumbling boob criminals. And I think, but also at the heart of it, it's this spiritual journey and a hero's journey in a sense of um, what this guy ends up choosing to be at the end, right? And maybe not even choosing, but being maybe his friends forcing him to be. I don't know. I think there's so many as I watch this, I bounce back and forth between what the ending actually means and what Usi's role is, in the story, and him kind of forcing him to face, almost inadvertently face his demons and gods all at the same time. So I think I think it's an easy film, I think, to somewhat dismiss because of the frenetic. This feels a lot like Go to me in a sense, where it's just like it's on, it's always on.
Yep.
And there's characters that never stop. Um, but it's weird, and it's moody, and it's in a sense, and like, I don't know. I really, really dig it. I'm glad that we were able to procure it.
Yeah,
And
no, me too.
I think it's cool that its American premiere or
Yeah,
tonight.
it's U.S. premiere. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's and like, I can see, I mean, yeah, the weirdness is that sometimes does seem kind of a little out of place. Not out of place. I guess it ungrounds you in a way that I think the film wants to do that to you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I love it. I'm glad the reaction. I'm glad there were laughs and like,
Right.
um,
Right. I
and
know. I know because it is so funny at times. I mean, it's just so like ridiculous sometimes. And then
yeah,
I was really glad that people didn't, weren't. I don't know. I mean, yes, I'm glad that there were plenty of chuckles and belly laughs throughout. I also think that there's probably a lot of stuff going on that we don't understand, like not being, or being Westerners, right? I think there's a lot of political nuance in there that, like, I just don't know.
yeah. I think there's a lot probably to I'm sure there's commentary on the drug trade in those countries,
Yeah,
um, how it's
like
handled, how it's
the radio announcements of like minorities, remember your minorities, like,
but
like,
yeah, but also, with Chili Boy, being scapegoated as this great mastermind of like, so I think there's a lot of that going on as well, that I think I'd really love to hear from the filmmaker, in the sense of like, yeah, tell us what also was going on here, because I think there's a lot of pieces that may be lost on a Western audience.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and it's, I don't know, it's fun. I mean, like, there's just so much that's like, and the theory that Jack doesn't exist, and it's, they're two sides of the same, um,
Yeah,
of the same person. I mean, obviously, I buy into that as well, because it's kind of forced upon us a lot. But I love that interplay, and I say forced. I don't mean like heavy-handed, because I don't think. I think if you watched it, and just watched this and thought it was playing it straight, I think one could potentially be right, and it's still, there's nothing wrong with that take, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Um,
yeah,
but that moment of like, I think that moment, like, where he's ordering beers and they keep coming back, more and more beers, I think that's pretty clear evidence that this is a guy struggling with his own like inner self. He's struggling with, he's battling
yeah.
and going back and forth, and like,
Clearly
um
fighting. Yeah,
right. um yeah, I think this is a really, I mean, like, I think this is a film that like has a lot more going on than what appears on the surface.
oh
And
yeah, 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 yeah.
if you sit with it, the more you sit with it, um, I think the better this film becomes, and that's not always the case with a lot of films. So like, highly recommend, if you can catch Mackay, to definitely catch it, because it is one. It's an art house film that's just a fucking lot of fun. It's just fun. It's weird and sensual in a way that like makes you like nervous about how it's playing out, but it never really it never like gets to be too sexual, and I mean, I don't know, it's and I think there's stuff going on there too that I don't
Yep.
really get either. I'm not 100% sure of all of like the brothel scenes and like how that all plays out, exactly what's going on in that sense, and like what's the commentary there. Um, but yeah, I think it's a really smart film. I think it's a really fun film. Um, and we blew one guy's mind, so I'm glad. If we can do that, then great.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. we had at least one guy just raving about this film. So that's fantastic. Good for us. We did good.
Good.
We did
Good for us.
And we'll see
All
how
right, man. Well, I'm home. I know you got a little bit ways to go, but I'm now just screaming. I'm no longer driving.
You're normal.
Yes. Yeah.
Screaming at clouds and everything else. Okay, well we will let you go and scream outside of the car. Tomorrow we've got human resource. We've got also, well, I don't know what else. Yeah, we'll come back with some other stuff probably. Until then, thanks for listening.
And keep screaming.
You have been listening to Why Does the Wilhelm Scream with your hosts, Brock and Jason. If you liked today's episode, do us a favor and rate, review, and subscribe in whatever application you use to consume podcasts these days. You can reach us by visiting whydoesthewilhelmscream.com. If you are in the DFW area, we would love to see you at a Fort Worth Film Club event. You can learn more about those and find a full schedule at fortworthfilmclub.com. And you can learn about my foundation and how we are trying to foster the next generation of film lovers at realhousefoundation.org. That's REEL housefoundation.org. Till next time,